Classic Hits, 93.1 WNOX. I'm Frank Murphy. Delighted to be speaking with the stars of Marble City Opera's latest production and their director, Kathryn Frady. Let's say hi to Elena Stabile. Good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon, or good evening. I don't even know. Hello.
Hi. Nice
And
to be
also
here.
Denisha Pompey. Hi, Denisha.
Good day, Frank.
Yes, I worked mornings for so long. I said that out of habit. And Kathryn Frady, who is the director of Marble City Opera.
Hello, Frank. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to have you all back. So this is yet another interesting thing that Marble City Opera is doing, where you're staging an opera in a place that doesn't normally have operas. Where are you going to be and when are you going to be this time around?
This time around, we're going to be at Blount Mansion, and I've been told and corrected that it is Blount Mansion. And we're going to be performing two pieces there. One is a song cycle that we're actually staging called Letters from George to Evelyn. And the other is a new opera called Beneath Suspicion. And the whole evening will actually take place in one of the rooms of Blount Mansion. And so it'll be a very site-specific performance.
Blount Mansion is convenient because you've got the huge parking garage, the Dwight Kessel garage across the street. So it's right on Hill Avenue, overlooking the river. It's a beautiful place, a historic location. A lot of people, I imagine, have gone there on field trips when they were younger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really beautiful, and we're using the windows and everything in the room. So when the characters actually look out the window at the river, you will be too. So it's a great location for opera.
Now, part one of this two-act thing is the part you mentioned, which is called Vignettes, Letters from George to Evelyn. And that's the part that Elena Stabile is going to do as a solo piece, right? You're the only singer in this?
Yep, it's just me for about 20 minutes.
All right. Well, how did you find this piece? How did this piece find you? What brought you to Knoxville? Where were you before?
I was in Knoxville for grad school. I just finished up last May, and James Marvel was my director there for the 2 years as I was doing the voice program there.
He's a big deal in the opera world. He'll direct for UT Opera. He's directed stuff for Marble City, and I've seen him at all the Knoxville opera productions around.
Yeah. And through James, I was able to meet Kathryn, who sent out some information regarding Marble City Opera auditions. I thought it sounded really interesting, so I put myself out there, sang for her, and she thought that Vignettes and I would be a good match.
Well, let me jump then to part two for a second, which is Beneath Suspicion, a Civil War piece. Denisha Pompey, same question. Where were you before? How did you end up in Knoxville for this opera?
Well, I am currently in Atlanta. I am one of the singers who kind of reside there, and Atlanta has this pool of people, and kind of how I got here is a really strange story. Although Knoxville is maybe 3.5 hours away from Atlanta, I met Kathryn at a summer program that we were doing for opera. It was a summer festival, and she was playing a main role there, and I also had some roles and things going on, and we met and we hit it off, and she told me she had an opera company. I said, really? You have a company? And, I was like, yay, I met somebody who had a company. So she sent me the same thing that Elena mentioned. She sent me information on the audition, and I came out and auditioned, and it was just wonderful. And I'm just so happy to still be a part of Marble City, as I did another production about 2 years ago with her.
Which one was that?
The Stronger, yes. I'm thinking about characters in The Stronger because they were so crazy and it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
But it was called The Stronger. I did that along with another colleague we met, Julia Mitri. And
Oh, I met her.
yeah, Julia.
She came here for an interview.
Yeah. Julia's awesome. Yeah, so we've been kind of going at it, this opera steamboat thing that Marble City has got going on.
All right, so a similar question then for Kathryn Frady. I know where you come from and how you've been here for a few years, but how did you find these two pieces?
Well, Beneath Suspicion actually came to me because the composer is from Knoxville originally. He went to the University of Tennessee, and he had posted on the Facebook page of the alumni music school that he had an opera and it had won an award in Kansas. And I was like, oh, what is this? And I went on and I was like, oh, award-winning opera by a composer from Knoxville. I need to know what this is. And I listened to it and I thought it was really a great story. And so that was Beneath Suspicion.
Tell us about that story. That's the Civil War one?
It is. It's the Civil War story. It's about two actual people during the Civil War, Mary Bowser, who Denisha is playing, and Elizabeth Van Loo, who our other soprano, Lindsay Fuson, will be playing. And these two women worked together to spy during the Civil War and help end the Civil War. So Mary was originally Elizabeth's slave, and Elizabeth freed her and sent her to go learn from the Quakers how to read and to write. And when she comes back, Mary comes back and tells Elizabeth, you know what, thank you so much for sending me to learn how to read and write, for freeing me, but I have to go back into slavery to help save my people.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. And this takes place in Richmond. I was reading in the materials on your website that Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy, but there were a lot of Northern sympathizers there. So your character, Denisha, was able to pull this off somehow.
Yes, actually, upon doing more research, Mary was very talented and unusually intelligent for not just for a slave, but for any person at the time. Not only was she able to help pull this off, this infiltration of the Confederacy with Elizabeth Van Loo's help, she also went on and she had several other missions that she went on, I found, and she took on several aliases, and she even went and taught in Liberia. I didn't realize Liberia was made up of groups of freed slaves at the time, and they
established by the United States.
Exactly, yes.
In Africa.
And yes, so they were doing a similar, I guess, missions. The Quakers were kind of deploying these other free slaves to go and teach other people in Liberia. And she had a good time in Liberia. And when her work was done, it was a few years, she reached back out to Elizabeth and said, I think I need to come back. I have more work to do. And she gave lectures on all of her missions that she did. But she was so intelligent that every time she gave a lecture, she put in different facts, things that she would say that may or may not have been true, just to keep authorities and other people off of her tail. Yeah. Really cool.
So she has an amazing backstory.
Yes.
We're talking with Denisha Pompey and Elena Stabile and Kathryn Frady of Marble City Opera about their upcoming performances, which are on March 14th, 15th, and 16th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Blount Mansion on Hill Avenue. And I want to hear more about the World War II piece from Elena, but just real quick, tickets and availability, Kathryn?
Tickets are $15 for students and $30 for adults. You can find them on our website at marblecitybopera.com. And the performance starts at 7:30 p.m. And during the intermission between pieces, we will be offering wine.
How lovely, because it is a mansion after all.
The opera.
Yeah, you can't have opera without wine. So you're doing them in reverse historical order, saving, I guess, what I imagine is the heavier piece about the Civil War and espionage and dealing with slavery and all of that amazing emotional stuff for the capper. But you're starting off with a very beautiful piece about World War II. That's a solo for Elena. So tell me about how you're singing the letters that your character sends and receives. How does it go?
The text is taken from a series of letters that George sent to his wife, Evelyn. They were married in 1942. And he was very tragically killed just a couple days before World War II was ended. The composer, Alan Lewis Smith, has set this music, and I think it's debatable about whose perspective it is at any given time, because ostensibly Evelyn is reading the letters, but you also have a sense of George's perspective overlaying that. And so we've had a really fun time.
You know, a lot of operas have ghosts, Kathryn. I'm just saying. You could have had a ghost.
Well, we've had a lot of fun staging this because this has never been staged before. This is a song cycle. And so we've had a really great time exploring how to bring out these two characters, exploring the emotions that they each have and how Evelyn, as the person who's receiving these letters, reacts to what she's hearing from George and trying to imagine what it's like for him overseas. And we've done some really, really great things with that.
I guess I can picture maybe Blount Mansion as the setting for the Civil War piece first, but how does it apply also to the World War II piece?
Well, historical buildings were built in the 1700s, but they're still standing.
Yeah.
So I think that the letters, it works really well because it's in her home, it's in her living room. Essentially, we come in as the audience and see Elena portray Evelyn and sometimes George as she's reading these letters in her own space. And I think that it's going to be really moving to watch this piece being staged in this kind of setting.
So there's no finger over your mustache and talking in a deeper voice when you're George?
No.
It's
just all me and my soprano-ness.
Wait, is everybody here soprano?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I was picking up the vibe. Okay.
Sopranos rule the world, so.
Oh, tell me about it.
You're married to one, so you would know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this sounds like a very lovely production. What is next on the horizon? And since you're closest to the mic, I'll start with you, Elena Stabile, and then Denisha Pompey. After this, you've got what?
I'll be headed to Lynchburg, Virginia right after this show closes to sing Anina in a production of La Traviata with Opera on the James. And then after a couple of local concerts up where I live in New Hampshire, I'll be actually coming back to Knoxville for the Neefnorf Summer Festival.
Oh, big deal. Very nice. Then what about you, Denisha Pompey?
After we do this extravaganza of the historical times here with MCO, I will be going off to do several concert series over the summer. And after that, I will be hopefully giving birth to my little girl.
Oh, well, terrific. God bless you there. Congratulations.
Yes, so we'll have our hands full, but I will still be singing. And once we kind of get through all the motherly and parental things, we will keep going with more performances.
Excellent. And same question for Kathryn, Frady, and Marble City Opera, because I think you're in the next show after this, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. For Marble City Opera, our final production of the season is Suor Angelica, which will be taking place at St. John's Cathedral in the outdoor courtyard. And I am playing the role of Angelica, so that's really exciting. Before that, I'm singing the Beethoven's Ninth with the Knoxville Symphony, and then I'm singing in a production of Carmen in Wichita with Wichita Grand Opera, and Tosca with the Helena Symphony. So quite busy over the next few months preparing not only for this show with Marble City Opera and producing Suor Angelica, but doing some of my own singing as well.
Oh, good. Well, I've already got my ticket to Beethoven's Ninth because my wife is in the chorus behind you, so I have to go. But I'm excited about it. And also, some of the other opera singers whom I've met through you will be in Suor Angelica with you, right?
That's right. Absolutely. We have a great cast. It's amazing how many sopranos and mezzos and women in this town there are who can come in and sing. There's about 15 or 17 characters, and most of them are either living here in Knoxville now or from Knoxville and coming back for the production.
That is very exciting stuff. You can find out all about Marble City's season and all their upcoming stuff for next year as well at the website, which is, guess what, marblecitybopera.com. And you can get your tickets to see these lovely singers in their Knoxville debut, right? No way, well, sort of. Not you, Elena, because you did tell me you studied here. Yes. So you were on stage in some of the UT operas?
Yes. Most recently, I was in Middlemarch in Spring, collegiate premiere of that new opera. I was also in The Crucible and Le Nozze di Figaro.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, then you know Kate Shepis, who I met through
Yes,
through Kathryn when she had to play a boy in Amal and the Night Visitors. All right, marblecitybopera.com. Denisha Pompey in this very moving, emotional piece about the Civil War, about espionage.
Yes, I actually just kind of want to aspire. She makes me want to be a spy. I don't know if there are openings right now, but yes, I encourage everyone to just come out and just hear of these stories and just watch us in action, because we've really found several layers to all of these characters, and we just really can't wait to share what we've discovered with everyone.
Wow, Elena Stabile is nodding and saying, yeah, if you feel the same way about your piece, right?
Very much so.
Well, it is Women's History Month, Frank, so we're really taking these characters and making a lot out of them.
Yes, it's now Soprano History Month, I think, as well. All right, well, Kathryn, Frady, Denisha Pompey, Elena Stabile, Marble City Opera, March 14th, 15th, and 16th at Blount Mansion right on Hill Avenue in the heart of downtown Knoxville. Another unusual place, how about that, where they're staging shows. All the different places that they do Marble City Opera is fascinating to me. So get your tickets before it is too late. Thank you again, Elena, Denisha, Kathryn, appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This is Classic Hits 93.1 WNOX.